everybody, welcome to Sam's Astrology. This video was primarily recorded for my audience in my broadcast channel, but I ultimately decided to upload it to YouTube for a wider reach, experimenting on some stuff recently. So for now, we will roll with this. But yeah, if you're new to Sam's Astrology, my name is Sam. Hi. Please consider subscribing to the channel because it really helps. Every subscription, every click helps. Every comment, every like. Anyway, enough of that. We will talk about this week's transits, and we've got a few pretty interesting transits upcoming for us this week. We will start with tonight's new moon in Leo, August 4. We have the new moon in Leo. As you can see, the moon will be perfecting its conjunction with the sun tonight. And that will be a good time, really, for starting new things. In the context of medical astrology, though, this translates to it's basically an auspicious time for getting surgeries, getting cuts, because you know how it is, right? So when you have the new moon, it's normally, how do I put it? Normally, the world over, we experience low tides when the new moon is around, and conversely, when it's the full moon, normally we have high tides. That includes the water in our body, the liquids in our body, which includes the blood, right? So if you're ever going to get cuts or bruises, now would be the safest time to do that, which includes, of course, surgeries. Getting cut, going under the knife, basically, because the water in the body is not fighting to get out. It doesn't want to come out of the body, if that makes sense. I want to emphasize, though, that if your doctor says you need to go through a surgery right now, please go and do that. Obviously, follow what your doctor is telling you to do, because your health is number one, right? And so that is our astrology for today, Sunday. Now, when it comes to this whole operations and stuff type thing, typically you want to be able to do that within 5 days before a new moon, on the day of the new moon, and 5 days after. That's the, let's just call it, potency of the new moon when it comes to that sort of medicine, like surgeries and operations, getting cuts and bruises and bleeding. So that's essentially a good time to have them, safest time to have them. But again, I want to reinforce, if your doctor tells you that you need to do something, you need to have something done, please follow the advice of your physician, obviously. When it comes to other matters, though, especially for Scorpio rising folks, it's a nice time to start things during the new moon. And for Scorpio rising folks, the new moon will be happening in your 10th house of career. And so especially if you have Sagittarian placements, it will make that nice, harmonious, supportive trine to your second house placements, the house of personal finances, obviously. So you want to start things in your career, start doing new things with your career, and it should make that supportive trine to your personal finances house. But generally speaking, new moon is always a good time to start manifesting, start new plans, and all that good stuff. We have, on the following day, August 5th, this is a time when Venus steps into the sign of her fall. She is not comfortable in Virgo, but she will be in Virgo here on August 5th. Together with Mercury, the Lord of Virgo, who will go retrograde just a few hours after Venus enters Virgo. Now, this is a time of knowing your productivity cycles. What I love saying about Mercury, especially Mercury going retrograde in his sign of Virgo, is knowing your productivity cycles. When are you most productive and when do you need to take a step back and rest? This is very essential because, and this is what I tell my clients too, you are basically useless to people if you do not have the energy to work, right? If you don't have the energy to maintain yourself. And so knowing your productivity cycles is very essential. So you need to know when to rest, when to take a step back, right? Now, in relation to this as well, Venus in Virgo is assimilation or your body's ability to use the sugar that it's consuming. And you have to take note, Venus is not comfortable being in Virgo, right? In which case, the way that and Mercury is about to go retrograde too. Now, what this tells me is that the assimilation of the food that we eat, the starches, carbohydrates, the sugar, and I know it's fresh coming from me considering, but it may it may mess up with the way that our digestion, takes the nutrients from all these Venusian pleasures of life type thing. I also want to point out that we have Mars and Jupiter over here in Gemini, while also in Mercury's domain, right? Again, Mercury is going to go retrograde, in which case he will be affecting Venus, Jupiter, and Mars. Now, where Mars is concerned, this could look like some inflammation somewhere. Obviously, we need to take a look at your individual birth charts to see where this is all happening. But the general idea is that this could be some pancreatic stuff happening, inflammation of some sort somewhere. So let's just be careful. Being in Gemini, this will most probably have something to do with the nervous system, even. And with Mercury going retrograde, that's not actually a far cry. So basically, be on the lookout for all these things. Don't overdo stuff. When it comes to your intake, make sure that you're being able to digest properly. It's the same thing with productivity cycles, right? When you're full, you don't need to eat anymore. You can stop, right? You eat to not be hungry. You don't eat to get full. Does that make sense? Hope it does. There's also something else that I want to take a quick look at this particular retrograde, because on the surface, when we're just looking at just the planets, they're already giving you a lot of information. But if we look at the fixed stars as well, we see that Mercury will be stationing or will be retrograding near Alioth, which also acts like Mars. So the characteristics of this fixed star is like it's like Mars. Additionally, this is also happening across from Fomalhaut, which acts like Mercury and Venus and Neptune together. So this retrograde is a potent time for health stuff. We want to take a look at the things that we consume, what we don't need, what we don't necessarily need. We can maybe put that off for another time. Yes, sometimes it's nice to have your chips and your ice cream, and I am guilty of this. But if it's not something that you need at the moment, don't do it. Stay away from it. All in moderation, I suppose, right? But just pay close attention to how your body is absorbing what you're eating, what you're ingesting. Because this time, especially in Virgo, the sign that rules our digestive system, and Mercury going retrograde in that sign, this could be a time of weird things happening to the digestive tract, right? Okay, cool. We next have on the 7th, we have the Sun and Jupiter sextiling each other. Where is it? Oh, here we are. So the Sun and Jupiter sextiling each other. This is a supportive time. You have to remember that the Sun is our overall health, overall vitality, and Jupiter is it's an expansive planet. It is a plethoric planet. What it touches on, it expands, right? So this is a good time. Socializing with people, fantastic. Drawing attention to yourself, also fantastic. In fact, being in these interactions with people, particularly with Mars there, just make sure that you're using Mars properly, that you're not being combative when you're talking, but be more like the motivational speaker is what I'm getting at, maybe. Be that sort of person in your groups. It would be more supportive of your overall health, your holistic health. So that's basically what I'm looking at when it comes to this aspect between the Sun and Jupiter. Of course, there are other things that we can say about it, especially when we consider the chart over here. Especially when we consider the chart and the chart of other people, your birth chart, I mean, and where these are happening. And so, you need to always be on the lookout on how, that plays out in your body. But generally speaking, this should be a nice time to go out there and be sociable and be fantastic. Alrighty. Our last for this week happens the day after, so August 8th. Let me do this. Here we go. And August 8th, we see that the Mercury retrograde will be conjoining Venus in Virgo. Again, this is doubling down on what we had seen days prior, Monday, 5th, of Mercury and Venus already moving closer to each other, because Venus steps into Virgo and then Mercury stations and goes retrograde, right? And this is the time when they would actually be conjoining each other in the sky. So the potency of their energy would be heightened on Thursday, Philippines, Manila time. I would say that this would be that time. So this is like the heightened time of when you want to take a look at your digestion, and the sugars that I was just talking about earlier, and all the food that you need to avoid for now. And also in the flip of the coin is that, be aware of your productivity cycles. This is the time of when you feel you would want to be lethargic, but also being, wanting to scrutinize everything. Instead of taking action, you take a look at, be very nitty gritty on things, right? So yeah, be aware of, particularly about your digestion. That plays a huge part this week in this week's transits. If you want to know how these movements will affect you personally, you will want to look at your birth chart and see where these transits are going on, and how these planets are also interacting with the other planets in your natal chart. That would give you a better picture of how they're going to be affecting you, basically. But yeah, this is our reading for this week. I hope it's helpful, at least from a holistic health standpoint. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of an edge over, this week. And yeah, let me know if you have questions. Comment down below, like the video, subscribe. But this is where we will end for today, and that's it. Have a good one.